This is the background reading on Texas and Mexico, part of the invasion unit in which we answer the question, what drives change? This section will focus on power. Introduction. While Americans headed toward Oregon and the Pacific coast, many others applied the concept of manifest destiny to Texas and the border with Mexico. As American settlers established themselves in the territory between the United States and Mexico, tensions grew. Eventually, war broke out between the nations, resulting in a new border and newly acquired territory for America. Mexican independence. In the early 1800s, before it was added to the United States and before Mexico became its own nation, the area known as Texas was a part of New Spain, a Spanish territory. The land was mostly populated by Native Americans. However, many who had been born in the area demanded independence from Spain. In 1821, the Spanish government agreed, allowing the formation of an independent Republic of Mexico, which could write and enforce its own laws. This frustrated a man named Stephen Austin, who had convinced 300 American families to settle in Texas, which belonged to Mexico. These settlers disliked having to follow Mexican laws, which outlawed slavery and required payment of taxes. Frustrations between American settlers and the Mexican government continued to grow. The Lone Star Republic. Texans began to protest Mexican power, ultimately threatening rebellion against the Mexican government. The President of Mexico sent troops to put down the Texan Revolt. The most famous clash between the sides occurred at the Battle of the Alamo in 1836, in which Texans were crushed by a much larger Mexican force. The loss only served to strengthen the Texans' resolve to fight, however. Crying, "Remember the Alamo," the Texan fighters, led by Sam Houston, managed to defeat Mexico. They promptly declared themselves an independent nation called the Lone Star Republic and elected Houston as their president. Mexican-American War. For 10 years, Texas remained an independent country. Then, in 1845, the Lone Star Republic agreed to join the United States as a slave state. Mexico, though, still claimed the territory of Texas and stated that it would fight to keep the land. U.S. President James Polk sent American troops to anger the Mexican army, which then attacked. Polk convinced Congress to declare war on Mexico in 1846. The American invasion of Mexico brought the Mexican-American War to an end in 1848 with the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. The treaty officially granted Texas to the United States. It also gave the U.S. a large territory known as the Mexican Cession, which included what would become California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and parts of 3 other states. With the end of the Mexican-American War, the United States emerged a much larger nation. Having gained over 500,000 square miles, the country truly stretched across the continent and took a shape much more familiar to us today. This map shows the different pieces of territory that were acquired by the United States. Take a look at the pieces that we talked about in this section.